vamos a ver qué más nos trae este maravilloso juego en este 50 ciclo. Vamos allá. Vale, vamos a ver. Repasito express. Llegamos aquí a Flotsam. Conocimos a Jeremy, que nos explicó que necesita un shipmind para ver cómo nos arregla. Aparte de eso tenemos bastante scrap. Fuimos a hacer un contrato en el que conocimos a Alma, que conectó mucho con Bliss. Y en el contrato con Alma nos dijo que había un sitio en el que podía ser interesante ir para intercambiar materiales, y era este Holmes Rock. Bueno, no para intercambiar materiales, sino para vender nuestra chatarra. Así que con un dado de 2 creo que es el momento de ir para allá. Porque lo podemos convertir en un 3, pero... bueno, ¿por qué no? Vamos a usar todos los dados, ya que estamos. Mira, ni tan mal. Y ahora sí, vamos para allá, hacia Holmes Rock. Sleeper? Bliss speaks quietly from the door at the back of the cockpit. Can we talk? You glance over at Surfin, his head back and eyes closed, while the rig cuts through empty space. You don't seem to be needed here. You unclip from your harness and follow Bliss. How are you doing? Bliss glances over their shoulder as they drift towards the back of the ship. The question takes you back. You can't remember the last time anyone had actually asked with real intention how you are. I'm feeling rough. He shoots you a concerned look. To be honest, Sleeper, I'm not sure how you are still standing. Breaking out of dark side, then again in Hexport, those things take a toll. Bliss turns a corner. So I think it's okay to feel rough right now. Bliss leads you off the main corridor, into the workshop they set up when they repaired the ship. It is small, but its neatly arranged tools and sloped walls help it feel cozy and tucked away. You see improvements everywhere, new tools and equipment. Bliss notices you looking at the upgraded setup. I told you I'd be worth taking along? Never doubted it. Bliss raises an eyebrow. Well, that's a lie. They smile. Feels good to hear, though. Anyway, I didn't bring you here to brag. They pause. Or at least not just to brag. They suddenly glance away, the atmosphere in the room shifting. I can see your body is showing the strain, Sleeper. I brought you here so we could do something about that. They beckon you towards a workbench where you both settle onto stools. Flick on a small light and aim it at your arm. Let's let them look. Bliss gently cradles your arm, turning it to inspect the underside. You see tears and holes in the vinyl skin, and dark, moving things beneath. Oh god. Yeah, let's watch this. You look as Bliss brings the light closer to the biggest tear, and it glints off the metallic tendons in your forearm. Below them, you see something more fluid and wet catching the light. You know, you aren't the first sleeper I met. Bliss talks while they inspect the rest of your arm. I actually partnered with one at the old repair bay on the eye. Feels like 100,000 cycles ago now, but I remember them. Their precise work, their quiet enthusiasm, there was something calming about their presence. Bliss swaps to your other arm. They were different to you, just like one person is different to another, I suppose. But I can't help but to remember that time. I was a different person back then, that's for sure. Going through something of a transformation myself. How is that going? Bliss lays both your arms down and leans forward to inspect your upper chest, adjusting the light. I was pretending before, I think, to be the person I was expected to be. They press along the hard protrusion of your clavicle. There were so many calculations I was making, so many corrections. How I held myself, how I spoke, how I reacted. They pushed gently against each of your metallic ribs, one at a time. I didn't realize how tired I was until they stop and sit back. Until I gave up. I came here to the belt with someone else. And when I did, I realized this was my chance to become something new. So I let go of everything. It was messy, ugly, and the person I came here with, I let them go too. I was punching out at everything because it felt like everything was holding me back, stopping me for the chance I was owed. Don't worry, they smile weakly. I'm calm now. I'm not about to explode on you or anything. It's still a difficult process, but it feels like shedding 100 suffocating skins that you spend half your life putting on one by one. It feels like an escape. They lean forward again and check the skin of your shoulders where it is worn and faded. You let them, the atmosphere quiet but calm in the workshop, a feeling of solidarity glowing somewhere in your frame. Not bad, Sleeper. You're holding up well, giving everything. Bliss folds their arms in front of them protectively, but I'm still concerned. There's some decline to your system functions. Let's keep an eye out for components. Thank you, Bliss. It's no problem. I release from the stool and drift over to the rack of tools. I owe you for jolting me out of whatever my life had become on the far spindle. You lead Bliss to the workshop, feeling reassured that you have them here on the ship. As you do, you think of your relationship to your own body, this frame that you were forced into that has never quite felt like your own. You realize that this feeling is not unique to you. No one gets to choose their body. Everyone has to contend with the entropy of their flesh. And in that realization, you suddenly feel less alone. Lumpen and crated, Holmes Rock floats on the sunward side of the belt. Its only notable feature, the bright shapes of its solar arrays, angled towards the system's distant star. Can't even dock the rig here. Surfing nods at the bright shape of Holmes Rock, lone docking bay. Won't fit. We'll have to park here and go out the airlock. He seems repulsed by the idea. But we do that every contract. You do that every contract. Seraphin leans back into his seat. I've got used to sitting them out. Barely seems worth the trip down. He speaks up from the back of the cockpit. There are other ships docked. Yeah, looks like a Lotic freighter. Bliss yawns. I guess they might be up for trading. I'll count down later. Don't feel like squeezing into a suit right now. Bliss gives a lazy wave as they glide out of the cockpit. Eugene pokes his head into the cockpit. That broke down there got a bar. He looks between you and Surfing. No idea, Surfing says. Looks dead. Eugene squints out of the cockpit windows. I see a few warm lights. I bet there's a bar. He disappears in the direction of the airlock. You gaze out over Holmes Rock. It certainly doesn't look very exciting, but there's refueling to be done, and maybe more besides. You might even be able to scare up a hot meal. You know, Sleeper? The Lotic freighter means we aren't far from Wellspring. Surfing gives you a sideways glance. Your sister. I haven't forgotten. Alright then. Appreciate it. I heard the pressure of the war in the inner systems is having an effect on how the Lotic Syndicate is being run. I just want to get there before something big goes down. You look out of the Lotic freighter, painted the same distinctive yellow as the spring-tied back on the far spindle. You've heard they supply most of the water in the belt. Not exactly an organization you want to collapse. A light catches your eye beyond the rock. A warm flash that is gone as soon as it appears. You're at the sunward edge here, and beyond is the inner system. Holmes Rock may look sleepy, but it lies on the shores of a corporate war. Something residents will be painfully aware of. Vale, acabo de tener la conexión. Claro, Bliss debe estar en el primer juego. Pero no lo recuerdo. Y habrá transicionado, porque ahora usa pronombres they, them. Así que sí. Pero claro, no recuerdo muy bien los personajes del primer juego. La verdad es que hace bastante tiempo. Aún así, momento alegoría trans. Bueno, vamos a ver qué encontramos por aquí. Se supone que es un buen sitio para vender todo esto. Así que a ver qué tal. Engage or endure. Qué bien que me haya subido endure. Realmente que... Uy, tenemos poco fuel. Bueno, vamos a empezar explorando esto. Me voy a guardar el 5 y el resto para adentro. Muy bien, new location. Vamos a ver. Lotic Freighter. A ver qué tienen por aquí. Venden fuel. Y tenemos otro endure que nos pagarán probablemente, pero nos esperaremos a descubrir más sitios. Vamos a poner un 3. Otra ubicación. Y tenemos un restaurante. Vale, 3 supplies. No estoy tan desesperado, creo. Vale, nos quedan 2 dados. Creo que los voy a usar trabajando, porque vamos un poco justitos de dinero. Un poco bastante. A ver cuánto nos dan. Venga, va. 9. Ouch. Bueno, vamos a hacer un positivo a ver cuánto nos dan. 12. Vale. Una cantidad bastante básica. Vale, vamos a comprar un par de fuel y un par de supplies. Bueno, supplies no, de supplies compraremos uno. Y vamos a pasar el día. Vale, hemos ganado un poco de crío. Creo que igual podría hacer que me busquen supplies, porque son lo más caro ahora mismo. Vamos a explorar un poco más. Una nueva ubicación. Ah, interesante. Vale. A ver cuánto nos dan. 13 de crío. No está mal. No está mal. Aunque esto nos lo procesaban. Así que si encontramos un sitio donde nos compren procesado, mejor. Vamos a acabar de explorar y haremos un trabajito de esto. A ver qué tal. A ver qué onda. In Holmes Rock, it's impossible to get away from the feeling of living, working, and eating in a ruin. Most of the belt is built on top of remains of solid infrastructure, but there are plenty of places where the modifications or extensions to those structures eclipse the original foundation. In Holmes Rock, it is the reverse. The station is a small, warm patch at the center of a network of tunnels and bays that stretch within the rock, most of them dark, damp, and wrecked. A sprawling foundation that will never be built upon. Every so often, gliding on your way between Senna's Rest and the Suncatchers, or from the docks to the depot, you find yourself in one of these dark tunnels. That's where you are now. You float, stopped, at a four-way intersection. No light visible down any tunnel. Ah, nos dejan escoger. Vamos a ir izquierda. You kick off gently from the wall and head into a cylindrical passage clad with panels that hold back from the rock. It is wider than the others, and here and there little droplets of water float undisturbed. At the far end, you see a faint point of light, the warm glow of a lit passage. Suddenly, you hear a rustling in the dark, and a shrill sound that you can place. There's something out there. Bueno, trying to calm your nerves, you overcompensate and kick off too hard. You fly through the tunnel, droplets of water spat in you, and collide with a metal crosspiece you hadn't seen. You bounce off it, tumbling through the air, before you catch yourself on the wall. You curse in the dark and move towards the light. Then it hits you, something solid and meaty, slamming into your stomach and spinning away. You press off the wall and push on as a shrill wail echoes behind you in the dark. What the hell was that? When you reach the lit passage beyond, you turn back, but the tunnel is silent but still. You continue on, but you can shake the feeling of being followed as you ascend back up through the station. Perhaps next time, you'll take a different route. Vale. Okay. Anda. 3 solid data? Joder. Está complicado. Vale. Vamos a hacer un trabajo aquí. A ver cuánto nos da. Ah, nos da energía de crío. Vendo otro. Claro, es que aquí me dan 12. En el otro me daban, creo que 7 más uno de estos. Ready for the exchange. The exchange. A ver, vender uno más. 13 de crío. Compramos uno más de esto. Debería comprar uno más de supplies. Es que son caros de la hostia, Vamos a ver dónde podemos ir desde aquí. Vamos a hacer un momentito un ojo a los objetivos. Vale, cadete está en las Scatteryards. ¿Dónde están las Scatteryards? Aquí. Nemba me pidió esporas de Greenbelt, que está aquí. Wellspring. La hermana está en Wellspring. Helium Gate. Y en Helium Gate está potencialmente nuestro Shipmind. ¿Qué priorizamos? Qué gracioso, pone minor o major. Supongo que lo más sensato ahora mismo por donde estamos sería ir a Wellspring. Vamos a tener que comprar un poco más de fuel para llegar tranquilos. Pero vamos para allá. Seraphine! The shout echoes through the ship, reaching you in the cockpit. You see the angle of Seraphine's head change, but he does not respond otherwise. Did you hear that? Seraphine sighs. Yes, I heard. How about you go see what they want? They called you. Seraphine shrugs. I'm busy flying the ship. Seraphine! You recognize the voice now. It's Bliss. Moments later, they come into the cockpit. Is no one listening? They look between the two of you. I guess that means one of you is guilty. Bliss shakes their head. Come on, you need to see this. You follow the irritated Bliss through the ship, down into the cramped storage units tucked between the main ship and the hull. As you enter, you are greeted by a total chaos. Amber globs of liquid ration float in the air and cling to the walls, while a chunk of dried food spins slowly, breaking into crumbs. See? Bliss fumes. Someone opened up one of the supply crates and left it like this. They point to a crate in the storage netting with the lid pushed open. You look at the mess spilling out from the crate. Who could have done this? Let's inspect the remains. Oh. You take a moment to pick through the food and find a torn open pouch of liquid rations. You turn it into the light and see a set of evenly spaced gashes at the edge. Are those claw marks? Bliss puffs out their cheeks. I need a break from this ship. They look at you. Help me tidy this up. You spend the rest of your journey packing the crate away, disposing of the spoiled supplies. But as you do, you can't help but wonder what actually happened here. Hay un gatito en el barco. When you're finished, you take one last look around the storage bay. As you gaze around the now cleared space, you have the same feeling of being observed by unseen eyes as you felt in the tunnels of Hull Drive. Uy, se nos ha colado un bichito.